Welcome. My name is Robert Love. I'm a neuroscientist. I specialize in helping people prevent Alzheimer's disease with science. And tonight we're going to talk about healthy foods, not only for your brain, but also for your gut and your whole body as well. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not giving you medical advice. Please consult your medical doctor before doing anything that affects your health, including changing your diet or changing your supplements. So as you're coming in, please put your first name and where you're from in the chat. That way I can say hello and I know who I'm talking to. So put your first name and your where you live in the chat, please. And I will say hello to all the wonderful, beautiful people that want to spend your Tuesday nights learning about neuroscience. Hi, Matt from Ohio. I was born in Cincinnati. Jess from Sydney. Awesome. I love it when people from other countries are here. What up, man? Ben from Georgia. Hi, Ben. Georgia, Texas. Hi, Georgia. Hello from Iowa. Sharon from Texas, Tara from Toronto, Mark from Ontario, Brett from Long Island, Sam from Florida, Chris from Edmonton, Bree from LA, Yolanda from Arizona. Yolanda, do you like Pulp Fiction? Bobby Landon, science or religion? I like both. Angie from Fort Worth, Colleen from Thunder Bay, Ontario, Ivana from Austin. Hey, I'm in Austin right now. Hello, Lacey from Texas, Colorado. Awesome. Hi from Las Vegas, Liana from Toronto, Kim from Florida, Outer Banks, North Carolina. I heard those are beautiful there. Tar Healy. June from Orange County, New York. I didn't know there's an Orange County, New York. Jess from Oklahoma. Fantastic. Well, hello, all you wonderful, beautiful people. Maria from Florida. Hi, Maria. I'll be in Florida in November. This is so lovely. So I'd love to, hey, what up, dude? Lots of four-leaf clovers. Perhaps that's from Ireland. Hi. Bristol, Pennsylvania. Hey, did you move? I'm in the process of moving from Manitoba. Fantastic. Danielle from Texas, from Dallas. Hello, good morning from Singapore. Oh, sweet, Singapore. This is great. Hello from West Virginia. Awesome. Never eating Hershey's again. Good for you. Please don't eat slave chocolate. Slave chocolate is chocolate that is not labeled fair trade. Basically, big chocolate companies would buy chocolate from Africa and they buy from plantations where children work them and are not paid. And I learned about this years ago. I haven't been able to buy regular chocolate since then because I don't want to support slavery. I don't think really any human does. And so please buy fair trade chocolate that ensures that the people who farm the chocolate are paid. Hi from Ohio. Divine chocolate, great. I like Hue chocolate and Lily's chocolate. I think those are great. Michelle from Chicago, hi. What about Greek yogurt? I generally don't do yogurt. Yogurt often has sugar in it. I prefer kefir, if we're gonna do that, or for probiotics. I'm gonna show you my Costco list here in a moment. I really like the organic, sauerkraut. Sauerkraut I really like for my probiotics. Almonds or walnuts, both are great. I like soaking them to reduce the amount of lectins in them. Soak them and then dry roast them. Are you related to William Love? I don't know who William Love is. I love watching you. Thank you from Huffman, Texas. I so appreciate it. Hi from the Philippines. Hello. Please share my Costco list. Okay, we're going to get to the Costco list. So I got the whole thing right here, and I'm going to show you some of the stuff. I'm going to tell you why I got. Excuse me. So first, I got sardines. You knew this was coming. Sardines, they're on sale right now. They're great. I'm not sponsored by Costco. I love this company. I've been eating these for years. Before the pandemic, I had 2 years of these in my closet just because that's a good thing to do. If you want to be prepared for emergencies, get some non-perishable food and keep that in your closet. Could be this, could be healthy rice, but food that's not going to expire. That way, if there are food shortages, which you've likely experienced in the last 2 years, you know what it's like to go to the grocery store and not see food on the shelves. Prepare in advance. Prepare when the time is good. Invest in food. Keep that in your closet or your garage or your attic or wherever it's going to be safe. That way, if there's a flood, goodness, there's a huge hurricane in Florida. Do you think it was difficult to go to the grocery store for a few days? Probably. So invest in some stuff that you're going to like. And important, eat and store food that you're going to eat. So that way you're constantly going through it. I've now through those 2 years of sardines and now I'm buying more. You want smash fish that are low in mercury and high in fatty acids for the brain. SMASH stands for, say it with me if you know it, salmon, mackerel, anchovies, sardines, and herring. You want wild-caught salmon because the farm-raised salmon can have lice in it. The wild-caught salmon is much healthier, and you want Atlantic mackerel, not king mackerel. So sardines, that's number one on my list. If I were to get one thing from Costco, it would definitely be sardines. And they're on sale right now for 30% off. That's just great. Next, eggs, specifically pastured eggs. This is not just free range, this is not just organic, pastured eggs. This means the chickens are actually outside scratching up bugs, eating healthy things that chickens eat. So Dr. Stephen Gundry says this: you are what your food eats. So if your food, meaning like the chickens, the cows, the animals eat healthy things, then you're going to be healthy. If your plants are fed healthy water and nutrients and not given a bunch of pesticides, that's good for you. So you are what your food eats. These pastured eggs, if you're going to eat chicken, eat pastured chicken. For some reason, some chicken has arsenic in it. I don't understand why. I love Gundry. Me too. So I like pastured chicken if I'm going to eat it, and then pastured eggs. Eggs are rich in choline, specifically the egg yolk. Choline is a precursor to the neurotransmitter acetylcholine. Advice on concussion recovery. I've done 2 videos on that. Those are really in depth. Check those out on my station, or stay here for the live. So choline is a precursor to acetylcholine. Acetylcholine is what I call the master molecule of memory. It's a neurotransmitter used in the hippocampus. So eating more choline gives us more raw materials to make acetylcholine. You can also take supplements. I like alpha GPC. I take 300 to 600 milligrams. When I take it, you can take up to 1,200 milligrams. 90% of Americans are deficient in choline, according to Bill Bryson. So that means 90% of Americans are deficient in an essential nutrient for making healthy neurotransmitters, specifically acetylcholine. So pastured eggs. Next. All right, talk about this. Probiotics. You want probiotics. They're really important for your gut health. What's good for your gut is good for your brain. Say it with me. What is good for your gut is good for your brain. One more time. What is good for your gut is good for your brain. So that means you want to eat things that are healthy for your gut. That means prebiotics and probiotics. Probiotics are the healthy gut bacteria that live inside your body. Dr. Gundry calls these gut buddies. And gut buddies eat prebiotics. Prebiotics are usually soluble and insoluble fiber. So fiber is good for your gut bacteria. It feeds them. Probiotics like sauerkraut are filled with fiber. Your stomach lining needs fiber to replace itself over time. And this is filled with healthy gut bacteria. You want organic sauerkraut, because organic cabbage is really important. If you get regular cabbage, and I learned this from Dave Asprey, regular cabbage will suck up cabbage in general will suck up something from the soil called thallium. Thallium was added to gasoline when lead was removed. Do you remember lead gasoline? Who remembers lead gasoline? We used to have lead in the gasoline that would go into the air. And please don't ask to join me right now. Thank you for asking. And so we had lead projected in the air, which was really unhealthy for us. Yeah, you remember. And so they replaced lead with thallium. Now some fertilizers have thallium in it, and if you eat regular cabbage, it can be rich in thallium. You don't want that. Thallium is likely a neurotoxin, and so I wouldn't advise eating that. So eat organic cabbage, very important. Also organic chemistry is another thing. Next, I got these. I got maple syrup. Now this is not keto friendly. I'm gonna use this when I make my friends coconut flour pancakes. This is gonna be great. So I got the eggs, I got this, and I got coconut flour on the way. For a snack, I have a sweet tooth, and so this is one of the reasons why I started making healthy, delicious food, is because I wanted to eat sweet, delicious food that was also healthy for me, low in carbs. Dates are not low in carbs, but dates are high in fiber, so this is okay. You want to limit yourself. I like to limit myself to 10 or 20 a day. If I don't limit myself, I just eat them like they're candy, because they are candy. This is way better for you than refined sugar, than packaged food. So this meets my sweet tooth need. These are organic dates, and these are pitted, so I can just eat them up and chew them. Be careful. I've run into some pits in some of these, and I kind of hurt my teeth. And so you might want to squeeze it before you chomp down on it, just to make sure there is no pit in them. You know, this company, I think they do a good job, and they try to remove all the pits, but 1 out of 100 or so has a pit, so be careful. They're really delicious. They're sweet and they're chewy, and there's a lot of fiber. And so my gut bacteria like this. Next, this was a surprise. I didn't know they were going to have this. Let me get that right. So these are wild blueberries. So wild blueberries are rich in nutrients. I'm so excited. These are even better than organic blueberries. I'm going to add these to smoothies, and I might put these in pancakes. I'm going to do kinds of fun stuff with them. I might even add this to some maple syrup and cook that down and make like a blueberry syrup. I don't know. Lots of great stuff. Yes, these are all at Costco. So organic blueberries, definitely in my smoothies. Another thing that's going in my smoothies, and I'm gonna roast them, organic broccoli. So I like to add, a half a cup of this in my smoothie with something like half a cup of blueberries and blend that. And I blend that with some other healthy stuff like matcha, like chlorella, like spirulina. Add some olive oil. That's my morning smoothie. These are also great to roast. I'll often thaw these, pat them dry, coat these in olive oil, salt and pepper, roast them in the oven until they are done. Delicious. Also works with cauliflower. If you don't like broccoli, no problem. Cauliflower is so good for you, and it's gosh darn delicious. And when you put a bunch of olive oil with salt and pepper on olive oil, it is amazing. People ask me, like, I'll serve it to them. They'll say, what is this recipe? Like, it's super easy. It's roasted cauliflower, olive oil, salt and pepper. Delicious. Next, this I add to my salad. It adds a bunch of bulk and fiber to the salad. Organic romaine. So I'll take mixed greens. I got that. Those are in the fridge. Mixed greens. Actually, let me go get the mixed greens for you. Hold on. All right, well, we got mixed greens right here, organic mixed greens. This is gonna be the base of my salad, and I'm gonna chop up the romaine. That's gonna be some of the bulk of the salad. And then this is the olive oil I got this time from Costco. This is organic, extra virgin olive oil. Dr. Stephen Gundry says you wanna eat basically a liter of olive oil a week. He also says the only purpose of food is to bring olive oil to your mouth. So I think he's half right, and I think he's right in another way. So one, olive oil is super healthy for you. So you want to eat a lot of it because it's very healthy. Next, if you're eating healthy fats, that means you're not eating unhealthy other food. So all the healthy food that you eat, that takes place in your stomach that could be used for unhealthy foods. And so by eating healthy foods and eating a lot of them, like olive oil, this is rich in calories. This is not a low calorie food. It's high in fat, but it's high in good fat. That's okay. If you're eating lots of good fat, that means you're gonna eat less of other foods. Fat does not make you fat. What makes you fat is actually carbs. Carbs increase blood triglyceride. Triglyceride is basically fat in the blood. Also, cholesterol does not mean cholesterol. If you eat cholesterol, that does not mean that cholesterol raises cholesterol in your blood. That's not how the human body works. It's not that simple. If it were, that would be easy for us to understand. That's what we thought. We thought, oh, well, fat in my meat becomes fat on my butt. That's not the way it works. Cholesterol in my egg becomes cholesterol in my bloodstream. That's not how it works. There's great data to show that cholesterol in your food does not equal cholesterol in your blood. So that's not the way the human body works. Similarly, fat does not become fat. Also, protein can become muscle. And protein can also be broken down in your body to form glucose if your body needs glucose in a process called gluconeogenesis. There's no requirement in the human body for you to eat carbs. Your body can make carbs. Your body also makes cholesterol. Cholesterol is that important that your body makes it, and your body can make carbs. Carbs are very important, but you don't need to get them from your diet. You can eat healthy fats and healthy proteins with some healthy carbs in vegetables. Get your carbohydrates from vegetables. That's really, really important. And then some fruits, but primarily vegetables, and that's really great. And then your brain loves it. There's a great psychiatrist. Her name's Georgia Eady. And she was in a couple documentaries, and she said, she's a psychiatrist, a medical doctor. She says she treats a lot of psychological and psychiatric disorders with food. Specifically, she puts them on a low-carb diet that provides constant energy and prevents mood swings. And she says she wants her patients to know that eating things high in sugar, high in carbs, packaged foods, fruit juices, things that spike insulin, spike glucose, those are mood destabilizers. So write down sugar. If you're taking notes, sugar equals mood destabilizer. Try this. I've seen this with my family. I've had family members who eat very healthily, and then they'll have dessert, or they'll have a big dessert, and then we'll play a board game, and they'll get upset like that. And then sometimes they'll leave the game. I'm not going to mention who this is in my family, but this person who's very well-intentioned and eats very healthily, they'll eat a bunch of dessert, and then they just get mad at the game. Their mood is destabilized, and people notice this. So keep track. When do you lose your stuff? I've had a parent recently get mad at me I think I was trying to help them do something, and my parent like got really upset at me, and I realized, oh my gosh, they ate sugar today. And so notice this in other people. Notice when they eat sugar and when their mood gets destabilized. So please eat a low carb diet and be nice to my mom. I love my mom. I'm not speaking poorly of anyone. I'm simply saying a parent, I'm not saying which one, got mad at me after eating a lot of sugar. And I've noticed this in other family members. I've noticed this in myself as well. Sugar really destabilizes our mood. So eat a low carb diet, eat healthy carbs like vegetables, eat lots of vegetables, get healthy fats. What are healthy fats? Almonds, walnuts, so healthy nuts, macadamia, cashew, avocado, olive oil, walnut oil. You can eat olives as well. You can eat avocados, and then your healthy proteins from animals. If you're going to eat animals, what does that mean? It means grass-fed beef. You want to eat the animals like they evolved. So you want your beef, you want your cows fed grass, you want them grazing rather than fed soy. Really bad idea to feed cows soy. Cows don't eat soy. Only cows forced to eat soy by humans eat soy. In fact, I learned this from Bill Bryson's book, The Body, and Stephen Gundry talks about this. The cattle industry in the United States consumes half of the world's Tums supply. Tums, antacids. Why do we feed cows antacids? Because we feed them food that causes stomach acid problems. We feed them corn and we feed them soy. Cows don't eat corn and soy, so they get stomach acid problems. And so we feed them Tums, so they keep eating. That's really what's happening with the industrialized meat complex. Don't eat industrial meat. It's not good for the environment. It's not good for the animals. It's not good for you. If you're going to eat meat, eat grass-fed beef, grass-fed bison. Bison's great. It's delicious. It's lower in fat than beef. That's not necessarily a good thing, but it's lower in fat, so it's lower in calories. It's richer in nutrients, and it's got a sweeter taste to it. It's delicious. Grass-fed lamb, pastured chicken. That's what you want to eat. Okay, so let me know your questions. What we're going to do is, let me give you some documentary recommendations. I recommend Fat Fiction. The word fat and then fiction. Great documentary on the history of how we got to the low-carb diet or a low-fat diet. We got to the low-fat diet through fraudulent science, and it's documented. His name is Ansel Benjamin Keyes. He published data on 6 countries showing a linear increase of the more saturated fat you eat, the higher the heart disease. So at the top, I think, was the United States, and at the bottom is Italy. So saturated fat equals heart disease. That was his hypothesis. And his data was so clean, he cherry-picked his data. So let's say, I don't know how many countries he looked at. Let's say he looked at 20 countries, and he chose 6 that fit the model. And so his data was so clean, a statistician stood up and said, hey, I think you cherry-picked your data because your line's too clean. That's not the way real world data looks. And if you're a statistician, or if you're a research scientist, or if you've looked at data's not that clean. And his line was very, very straight. So just looking at his data, it looked fraudulent. It looked clean. It looked too clean. It looked like he doctored it. Not that he doctored it, but he cherry-picked it. Then he did research on 7 countries and said, look at the diet of these 7 countries. Again, the more saturated fat, the more heart disease. And he looked at the United States, he looked at Italy and other countries. He left out important countries. He left out France, Germany, and Switzerland. All 3 of those countries ate a lot of saturated fat. They had low heart disease. Let me say that again. In the study by Ansel Keyes, he omitted in his 7-country study, Germany, Switzerland, and France. Why? Because they didn't fit his model. His model is high saturated fat, high risk of heart disease. Those countries don't show it. In fact, we still know today, France, a lot of saturated fat, a lot of butter, a lot of cheese. Guess who doesn't have high rates of heart disease? France, and they smoke cigarettes. So that's the kind of science that was put forward in, I think, the late 50s, early 60s. And then there was a council headed by George McGovern to fight starvation in the United States, and it ended up becoming a dietary advisory board. And before they had good science, McGovern wanted to publish because he wanted to help people. He was well-intentioned, and this was really problematic. I think George McGovern was a nice person, and he wanted to end war, which I admire. He was not a good politician, and this was really harmful for what happened, because the impact of what he published and what he put out to the American people hurt millions of Americans and continues to do it today. They put out a warning. This is the first time any country ever published a low-fat diet recommendation. First time ever. In the 1960s, after George McGovern, they said, hey, we think a low-fat diet is best for your heart. What does this mean? This means you got to increase your carb intake. When did diabetes spike? When did heart disease spike? When did all these things get much worse? After the 60s, really in the 80s, when we started getting a lot more high carb, low fat diets. Who remembers the low fat craze? Who remembers throwing away egg yolks? Who remembers getting low fat this, low fat that? Put it in the chat. Are eggs problematic? No, eggs are great. Eggs are just wonderful, egg yolks in particular. Saturated fat is actually good for you when it comes from the right sources. You don't want saturated fat from vegetable oils. 2 reasons why. Who remembers this? Yes, I remember. Yeah, who remembers the low fat craze? That was propaganda. It was poor science, and it told us that animal products were bad, and it told us that low fat was good. With low fat, where are you getting the calories from? That means high carbs. What do we know about carbs? Carbs cause diabetes. Carbs are related to weight gain, and those are related to insulin resistance and heart disease and problems and Alzheimer's disease. These are high carb problems. These are not high fat problems. When you eat fat, that does not become fat on your body. That's not the way the human body works. And that's the way the scientists were thinking that it works. We know that that's not how it works. So that's the history of it. Ansel Keys doctored his data or cherry-picked his data, published it, and then really fought to say, no, I'm right, everyone else is wrong. The American government went with that advice. There's the first time in human history that we know of that a government has recommended low-fat diets for health, and that's when our health got really, really bad. So, healthy fats from eggs, pastured eggs, healthy fats from nuts, from seeds. Avoid the seed oils. Here's why. They are rich in omega-6s, which are inflammatory, and the way seed oils are processed, they're processed with a lot of heat, a lot of pressure, and a lot of machinery. They even if the oils were healthy in the vegetable, they are not healthy in the vegetable oil. So there's things like corn oil. When you cook corn, how much oil is in the corn? Seriously, how much oil is in a kernel of corn? Not that much. And so they're selling corn oil, margarine. Margarine is made out of corn oil. And the government promoted, hey, eat margarine. It's made out of 100% corn oil, no saturated fat. Well, the problem is that corn oil wasn't healthy. It was cooked. It was made under high pressure, high heat, and it oxidized the oil. So the oil is highly inflammatory. Even if the corn oil were healthy on its own, it's not. And then to make margarine, someone said partially hydrogenated. Yes, they hydrogenated the oil to make it like butter, which is even worse. So margarine was so much worse than grass-fed butter, and still is. Who remembers margarine being a health thing? And now we know that grass-fed butter is, oh, Dr. Idil Z is going down on me. Yeah, totally. He made a video. Thank you, Minor Major 7. He made a video about my other video. That was awesome. I like him. Please send this to him. I'd love his opinions on this. But please don't post this again. Minor Major, I've had this conversation with you a couple times. I appreciate you being here. I love that you're here on my lives. And I like that you like Dr. IDZ. I think he's good. But please don't post the same thing over and over again. That Dr. IDZ is going to own you, dude. 4 exclamation points. Please don't write that again. I'm happy you're here. Clearly you like it here because you keep coming back. So I'm glad you're learning stuff. And please share this with Dr. IDZ. I respect him. I think he's doing great work. So low fat is a myth that it's healthy for you. Show me someone. And another thing is that the low fat diet, it's hard to do. Even if you could do it, even if you could eat, let's say just vegetables with, are you going to have a salad without olive oil? That's fat. So let's say you somehow have a salad, no dressing, and then you eat some fruit, and then maybe you eat bread without butter on it, and you eat lean chicken, no skin. People have a real trouble sticking to that diet because it's not filling. So even if you could do a low-fat diet, even if you could stick with it, it's really hard. Few people can stick with it. So even if it were healthy, let's say that it is, even if the low-fat diet is healthy for you, the low-fat, high-carb diet, it's hard to stick with. People get hungry. When do people feel satisfied? When they eat fulfilling, satisfying food like grass-fed beef, like egg yolks. When people have eggs for breakfast, they're not hungry until afternoon. When people eat the high-carb diet, when they eat oatmeal with brown sugar, so carbs and carbs, with some bananas, what happens? We get hungry in a few hours. Remember that trend, eat food 6 times a day? Who remembers the eat food 6 times a day? What the hell is that? Why would you eat food 6 times a day unless you're not eating very nutritious food? We did not evolve eating food 6 times a day. Do you think hunter-gatherers are stopping to eat every 2 hours? No. In fact, the warriors, the men hunting, wouldn't eat for days sometimes. They would go into ketosis. They'd burn their body's internal fat as energy as they hunted. And so you want to, my best understanding of the science is that we want to eat like our ancestors. I recommend the documentary The Perfect Human Diet and Fat Fiction. Those are 2 ones. Would someone put that in here? The Perfect Human Diet. These are both on YouTube. The Perfect Human Diet and Fat Fiction. They're both great. They both provide they have a bunch of scientists and medical doctors. They got cardiologists in there. You got a cardiologist, a heart doctor saying saturated fat's fine for you. And these low fat, high carb diets are scary. They're dangerous. They're killing people. They do not reduce cholesterol. They, in fact, increase cholesterol. Cholesterol doesn't come from the diet. It comes from inside. And it's really interesting. So Fat is Fiction and The Perfect Human Diet. Thank you for posting that. Corrine Blitz or Biltz 3. Let's give it a hand for Corrine. Thank you, Corrine. Awesome. Thank you so much. I love bread too much. I know. Bread's great. Try some gluten-free bread, at the very least. Or try almond flour bread or coconut flour bread, or maybe have it once a week or once a month. Gluten is really bad for us. It stays in our body for about a month, causes inflammation. Even if you're not gluten sensitive or gluten intolerant, it's bad for you. It causes inflammation. It pokes holes in your digestive lining, which allows macronutrients from your gut to get into your blood before they're digested. The result of this is that your body's immune system gets all agitated, and this can lead to autoimmune disease. Autoimmune disease is sourdough. So any type of bread, any type of grain, avoid any type of grain. It's got gluten in it. It's worse in the United States than anywhere else. If you're in the United States, please don't eat grains. It's really, really bad for you. Read the book Grain Brain by David Perlmutter or Wheat Belly. Grain and wheat is really, really bad, especially in the United States. Really terrible. There's no type of bread that's not gluten-free that I would say is safe for humans to consume long-term. Not sourdough. Yes. Keto bread. Keto breads would be breads made of keto-friendly flour, like almond flour, nut flours, coconut flour, maybe cassava flour, maybe tapioca starch. Ezekiel bread is better. If it's made of grains made in the US, I would avoid it. Why is gluten bad? Gluten is bad because gluten is what's called a lectin. It is a plant defense. Wheat does not want you to eat it, so it causes inflammation in our bodies. Dr. Stephen Gundry writes about this in the book, The Plant Paradox. And gluten causes inflammation in our bodies, and gluten pokes holes in our digestive tract, causes trouble with our immune system. Gluten is, in general, very, very bad. 2 resources, Wheat Belly and The Plant Paradox and Grain Brain, all those talk about this. What about oatmeal? Oatmeal is a grain. It's made of oats, high in carbs. I don't recommend. It's a plant that we did not eat until the Fertile Crescent, the birth of civilization. By the way, if you don't remember from grade school, the birth of civilization was the Fertile Crescent. This is basically in modern day Saudi Arabia. And this is where human beings, a very fertile place of land, this is where human beings started planting plants to grow agriculture. This allowed wonderful things. This allowed us to live in a certain place over a certain amount of time. This allowed us to have specialized jobs. So men weren't just hunters. Men became plumbers, and men became carpenters, and men became, had other jobs. You had trade, you had language, you had development of language. People began to make cloth. A lot of things increased in sophistication with the birth of society, which was made possible by agriculture. The challenge is the food we ate with modern agriculture was not as healthy as the natural foods we evolved eating. And the real problem is recently, agricultural food has gotten so much worse. We have genetically modified and crossbred and altered the food that we've been growing to be even worse. Gluten or wheat today in the United States is worse than it's ever been before. Wheat in Europe is much safer. It might be okay to eat. I'm very clear, wheat in the US is not something that's safe. I would recommend not eating wheat. And then grains. We're not used to eating grains. We started eating grains 10,000 years ago. That's when the Fertile Crescent was. That's when the birth of civilization was. That's when modern agriculture started. By the way, that's also when we started drinking milk. So is milk good for you? Well, let me ask you, do you want to eat food that we just recently started eating in our history? Or do you want to eat food that we've been eating for a long time? What do you want? Do you want food that we just started eating that's kind of like an experiment on humanity, or food that we've been eating for a really long time? I want to eat food that I've been eating for a really long time. And my ancestors have been eating it. That tells me my body evolved eating it. So that means I want to avoid the new foods. The new foods are most foods that are grown with agriculture, like I'm not referring to grains. I'm not referring to vegetables. Vegetables are great. I'm referring to, so grains like oats, like rice. The one exception on rice is black rice because it's so rich in nutrients, but generally speaking, rice would not be something that I would want to eat. Sweet potatoes are great. They're filled with antioxidants. Those are great. White potatoes are much less good. White potatoes spike insulin. And then you want to avoid your grains, your wheats, all the different grains. The ancient grains are much, much better. They've been less tampered with. And still, if I were to do an ideal diet, I would eat a ton of vegetables, healthy protein from animals, and that's basically it. And then some fruit. Some fruit, not a lot. That's what I would eat. And then a lot of healthy fats like olive oil and things like this. So that's the ideal human diet. It's most closely to what our ancestors ate. And it's avoiding those grains. It's avoiding corn. It's avoiding soy. Please don't eat soy, especially in the U.S. Soy is often genetically modified. I think 80% of soy in the U.S. is genetically modified. And it's genetically modified to withstand Roundup. So the soy can be sprayed with Roundup and not die. What does this mean? It means you can be lazy, spray a whole field with poison. Roundup is poison. It's a neurotoxin. It's shown to cause cancer in court studies. My guess is in the future, Roundup is going to be associated with heart disease, but more specifically, neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's disease, other forms of dementia like dementia with Lewy bodies. We'll know this data as time goes by, but I think Roundup is a really bad deal. It's already associated with cancer. And so your soy crop is sprayed with Roundup. The soy doesn't die, but the weeds do. You eat the soy has Roundup inside of it. You get Roundup inside you, it hurts your body. That's what happens with soy. Edamame is made of soy. Dude, you look like in your 20s. Thank you. I'm 40. Thank you for saying that. So you want to avoid soy in this country. I would say basically at all costs, just don't eat soy. Of course, check with your medical doctor. I'm not giving you medical advice. Do what works best for you and consult with a healthcare practitioner. I'm sharing what works with me and why I do it, what the science is behind it, so you can make informed decisions. Yes, glyphosate's banned in many countries. Absolutely. Canned tuna, I don't recommend tuna. You want to eat smash fish, salmon, mackerel, anchovies, sardines, and herring. Tuna has too much mercury in it. Tuna is a big fish. Oatmeal, don't eat oatmeal. Oatmeal is a grain. I wouldn't eat grains, especially in the U.S. I would not eat those agricultural crops. I would eat vegetables and just a little bit of fruit, especially berries like blueberries, strawberries if you like them, blackberries. Those are really fruits rich in polyphenols. And then if you're going to eat carbs, like heavy carbs and vegetables, I'd eat a sweet potato or I'd eat black rice. Black rice is like the one grain that I think is great. And then other than that, vegetables and healthy proteins like salmon, mackerel, anchovies, sardines, and herring, and egg yolks or just whole eggs, and grass-fed beef, grass-fed lamb, pastured chicken, these sorts of things. Can you reverse dementia? Yes, you can. Get the book, The End of Alzheimer's Program by Dr. Dale Bredesen. That'll share with you. Beans. So beans are interesting. So beans are rich in protein. If you're vegan, also don't eat soy because we didn't evolve eating it. Our ancestors did not eat soy. They did not. They ate vegetables, wild nuts, wild seeds, and meat. They did not eat soy. I would not recommend eating soy. So about beans and legumes. In Dr. Gundry's The Plant Paradox and the Longevity Paradox, he shares how beans have lectins in them. Lectins are plant defenses that cause inflammation in our bodies. They're not good for us. And so he recommends not eating beans. If you're going to eat beans, here's how to do it. Soak the beans for 48 hours. Change the water every 24 hours. Add a pinch to a quarter teaspoon of baking soda. That helps remove the lectins. When you change the water, soak black beans and then dump out the water. See how dark it is. It's just full of lectins. I have some almonds I'm soaking right now. I bought these almonds at Costco. Almonds are great for your brain. You want to soak them to remove the lectins. Have you ever eaten almonds and they're kind of tannic? They got like a little bitterness to it, that outside. Those are some of the tannins, those are some of the lectins that are not good for you. By soaking almonds and then drying them, it's good for you. It removes the lectins and makes it much more digestible. So you digest more of the good stuff in the almonds when you soak them and then dry them. If enough of you want me to, I will go strain the almonds. They're in the background there, and I'll show you the water and you can see it, but I don't want to break the chat. So if a bunch of you want me to go, want to see the almond water that's filled with the lectins from soaking, let me know. Walnuts are great. You also want to soak those. Someone asked for bread. No bread. You must be new to the chat. I got a couple yeses. Yes, bread. No bread. Bread's grain. Avoid grain. I get something. Yes. Wow. Soak. Okay. I'll bring this with you. I'll bring you with me. So I soaked these this morning. Okay, Google, turn on kitchen lights.
Sure. Turning
Sweet.
lights on.
So look at this. So those are nuts soaked right here. I'm going to drain these right now, and you can see what they look like. I'm in my friend's kitchen. I don't know where stuff is. I'm making a mess here in his kitchen. Okay, I didn't do that well, but check this out. Look at this. This is water that's had almonds soaking in it for 8 hours. Look at how like murky it is. That's taking off some of the lectins, some of the tannins, some of the plant defenses from the almonds. And then when I soak it, yes, they are raw almonds. And then when I dry them, they have this great crunch to them. So I'm removing these plant defenses that can cause mild inflammation and prevent absorption. And I mean, just look at this. And then I could even soak these again. I'd get even more out. If you do this with beans. Soak your beans and then pour out the water. Look at all the stuff that comes off of there. It's really, really important to soak your beans if you're gonna do it. The best way to do beans, and this is for the vegetarians and the vegans particularly, if you want that lifestyle, great. If that works for you, great. Here's how to do it. Soak the beans for 24 hours with a little baking soda. Pour that out, soak them another 24 hours with new water, add a little baking soda, pour that out, rinse them, and then pressure cook them. That's the best way to do beans. I'm gonna clean up a little bit more water, and then we'll get back to the couch. Anything else I wanna show you? Oh, this is monk fruit sugar. I travel with this. This is great in smoothies, it's great in coffee, it's great in any liquids. It's really, really good. I can also use this in my lemon zinger. That's a lemon, juice of a lemon with some vitamin C, a little bit of this, and some magnesium and some soda water. That's really great. This is really handy. I like this company. I've had this for a while. Migraine help. Go low carb. So Dr. Georgia Eden or Edie says low carb diets are great for neurological and psychological disorders. Migraines could be from that. I would try. No tempeh. I wouldn't do soy, even fermented soy. I think soy is bad news. Do a low carb diet. If you're having any trouble, consult with your medical professional and consider the low carb diet. It's a great way of removing lectins. It's a great way of removing inflammatory foods from your diet. It's a great way to ensure that you're getting healthy foods, healthy fats, healthy proteins. Farmed fish is not good. It's not sustainable, and they can have lice. You want wild caught salmon. Get your wild caught salmon. It's worth the money. It's worth the investment. Give me one moment. I'm going to wipe this up so my friend doesn't slip when he returns. Okay, so you've seen firsthand, for those of you just joining us, this is some of the material that came off of soaking almonds. You want to soak your almonds, soak your walnuts to help remove the lectins, the plant defenses. You also want to soak your beans before eating them to remove some of the plant defenses. It's really, really important. Oh, wow. So for those of you new, please put your first name and the country where you're from or the region where you're from. I'd love to know who's here. So put your first name, please, and where you're from. I'd love to know who's here. See no carbs t-shirt, my future. Good idea. All the good men are taken. I don't know about that. Birth control. Question mark. That's an interesting question. L from Australia. Amanda from Ohio. Angel from California. Juanita from California. Los Angeles. Vixie from UK. Steph from Canada. Amber from New York. Julie from Costa Rica. Emily, USA. Vicky from Nebraska. Susan from Massachusetts. Toronto. Eileen from Canada. Marcus from Canada. Eric from Texas. Rachel from USA, Tennessee. Shanil from South Africa. Great. Stefan from Toronto. Veronica from Los Angeles. Angie from Illinois. Nicole from Alabama. Nellie from Peru. Dorothy from Florida. I'm in the rumpus room. Sherry from Tulsa. What about CMOS? Diana from we got New Mexico. Kaylee from Maine. Brazil. Kippy from Iowa. Los Angeles. Minnesota. Amanda. Marcus from Texas. This is wonderful. Allie from Florida. You're all from all over the world. Brenda from Los Angeles. Arizona. Planet Earth. A great planet. Who here likes planet Earth? Who's here for the Earth? I love the Earth. It's a great place. It's amazing. I keep on getting questions about CMOS. If you don't include your first name with the CMOS question, I'm going to ignore you because we're playing the first name location game. Cindy from Boulder. I just moved from Boulder. Paula from California. Dawn from New Jersey. Mula from Ethiopia. Arslan from Romania. Marianne from Minnesota. Yari from Florida. Rachel from Los Angeles. Sherry from Georgia. Sophia from Arizona. Oh, this is so wonderful. Well, thank you for spending your time here to learn about health and brain health and neuroscience, how to prevent dementia, prevent Alzheimer's disease with a healthy diet, with healthy supplements, with healthy brain behaviors. So let me know. I've been going off on diet for a while. Some documentaries for you if you're just joining us. The Perfect Human Diet and Fat Fiction. Both of those are available on YouTube right now for free. Check them out. Filled with tons of data. They're filled with data on why we have a low-fat diet recommended here in the United States, the fraudulent science behind it, and why, and the kind of foods we want to eat based upon the history of our ancestors. Our ancestors, starting 2 million years ago with Homo erectus, they ate wild plants, wild nuts and seeds, and then fish and meat. And that's generally what's really healthy for most people when you're eating grass-fed beef or healthy chickens and so forth, not industrial meat. But when you're eating organic vegetables, not vegetables sprayed with Roundup, when you're eating healthy vegetables and healthy proteins, or getting proteins from whatever works for you, that's really great. Mushrooms are another great thing. Mushrooms are just terrific. There's even a hypothesis, it's called the stoned ape hypothesis, that our ancestors found psilocybin mushrooms, ate them, and they would bring them back to the tribe, and that facilitated neurogenesis, the growth of new brain cells, and facilitated bigger brains. There's another theory that says that as our ancestors ate more meat, they ate more omega-3s, and those omega-3s gave them the fats to make bigger brains. Maybe they're both. The names again, would someone type these into the chat so people can see them? It is The Perfect Human Diet and Fat Fiction. Start with those, and then there's another documentary just called Fat. They're great. Lion's mane is absolutely great. It's one of my top supplements I recommend. You can eat it as a mushroom, eat it as a supplement. I take it as a pill. I'll sometimes put it as drops underneath my tongue. It's really, really great for you. I highly recommend it. It's anti-inflammatory. It's good for your immune system. Helps grow new brain cells, new neural connections. It is just wonderful. Thank you for posting those. The Joel Higgins, and then who else do I want to thank? And thank you, Debbie Sa, for posting those. So The Perfect Human Diet and Fat Fiction. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Those are on YouTube. Check them out. And I have a free masterclass. If you're interested in this information, below my profile is a link. In that link, you'll see free masterclass, and that the masterclass is called How to Prevent Alzheimer's Disease. You'll learn about food, you'll learn about supplements, you'll learn about the importance of sleep. Check that out. Who's seen my free masterclass? Who's registered and watched my free masterclass? Blow up the chat. Let me know who I'm talking to. Let me know if you all have seen it or if no one's seen it. What do I recommend for bread? I recommend not eating bread because it is not good for you. Why no bread? Because bread is made of high carbs. High carbs are not good for you. And we did not evolve eating high carb diet. I'm going to. Who else has watched? Who has watched the masterclass? Some person said they're going to. Late night stacks, raw dairy. Anyone else seen the masterclass? Y'all are in for a great treat if you haven't seen it yet. It's available for free. It's me doing my best stuff, giving you the best information. Check it out. It's under my profile. Please watch it, and then please share it with others. Just signed up. Great job. Half of it this morning. Great job. No, not yet. Haven't seen it. Not yet. We'll watch tonight. Great. Thank you. You're welcome. What supplements do I take? I did a video on that today. Watch that. I show you all the supplements. I think it's called What I Take with My Smoothie. How do I make my sardines? Just sardines from Costco in apple cider vinegar. Sometimes I'll add olive oil. Okay, so please check out that masterclass. It's filled with information, and then share it with somebody. I made it available for free so that you can have really important information so you can live a healthier life. Please check it out. I share with you the foods and supplements that I take and foods and supplements shown to help prevent Alzheimer's disease. I share a lot of science with you. Okay, so please check that out. That is totally free for you, and it's underneath my profile. Okay, let me see your questions. So I'd love questions, if you can, ideally about food and brain health. And then I see a couple of them. Where's the masterclass? Underneath my profile is a link. It's a Linktree link. Click that, and the masterclass is underneath there. Everyone know how to find the resources that I have for you? Okay, great. I got bone broth questions. I got a breakfast question. I got a lion's mane question. Thoughts on raw dairy. What's my typical breakfast? Bread alternatives. Okay, so let me know. Do you want bread alternatives? Typical breakfast? What else was there? Raw dairy. Which one do you want? Bread alternatives, my typical breakfast, or raw dairy? You want all of them. Bread alternatives. All. Bread. Bread, please. Dairy. What to eat late night? Don't eat late night. Breakfast, bread. Bread alternatives, bread, breakfast, bread. Okay, so let's start with bread. Thank you for responding. Okay, so here's why you don't want to eat conventional bread in the United States. Bread in other countries is better for you. We have really bad food policy in the United States, meaning we do not protect consumers, and our food policy and our agriculture policy is really harmful to our health. We did not evolve eating grains. We started eating grains at the birth of civilization at the Fertile Crescent in Saudi Arabia, modern day Saudi Arabia. And it was a wonderful time when we had the invention of agriculture and our civilization grew. We had civilization, we had writing, we had specialization of work, and we could build homes because we weren't nomadic, following herds and so forth. Those grains, we did not evolve eating those. That was new. And the challenge is, since that time, we have monkeyed with them. Scientists and agricultural companies have tinkered with them, and those ancient grains are no longer the same, at least in the United States. Our wheat right now is extra high in gluten, and it's extra inflammatory. It makes more food that way. Our corn's been modified. And so the foods that we used to eat for agriculture have gotten even worse. And so historically speaking, we've been humans for about 2 million years. That's when Homo erectus emerged. We've only been eating grains for 10,000 years. So in other words, another analogy is, if human existence is a year, evolutionarily, we haven't eaten grains for the last day. So 364 days of your life, you've been eating wild vegetables and plants and nuts and meat. And for the last day, only the last day, you've been eating grains. So, how much grains do you want to eat? I don't want to eat any. Also, you want to avoid gluten, because gluten in wheat is inflammatory for most people, and it contributes to autoimmune disease. You want to stay away from that. About a third of women over 60 get some sort of autoimmune disease. I recently heard from a functional medicine doctor. I did a masterclass with him. You've seen him on my channel, Dr. Michael Gaeta. He told me that it looks like autoimmune disease is one of the driving factors of some of the neurodegenerative diseases, like Alzheimer's disease. So I'm going to wait for more research to come out. It looks like autoimmune disease could be underneath some of these neurodegenerative diseases. That's a really big deal. If you can't live without bread, get gluten-free bread. Find a good gluten-free bakery. Next, see if you can do keto bread. See if you can find a good keto bread made from almond flour, coconut flour, or make your own. That's a way to do it. Ancient grains are, if you're going to do grains, I recommend not grains. If you're going to do grains, get ancient grains. Look up what ancient grains are, get some of those. That's much better. Okay? So that's why to avoid bread. Bread alternatives include gluten-free bread. Start there. Dr. Stephen Gundry has a comprehensive list of breads you can eat. So get gluten-free bread. Sprouted is better. than not sprouted. So if you're going to do grain in the United States, sprouted is better than not sprouted, and it's still got gluten, and it's still not what our ancestors ate, right? So another example is soy. Our ancestors did not eat soy. And then soy in the United States is sprayed with Roundup. It's a pesticide. It's a neurotoxin. You don't want that in your body. It's bad for you. It's associated with cancer. It's likely to be associated with Alzheimer's and dementia. Now, organic soy is better for you. Yes. Can you eat organic soy? Yes. You can eat fermented soy. Yes. I don't recommend it. I think you want to stay away from soy. Our ancestors did not eat it. Okay? That's just a really simple line and simple understanding. Kind of with government, my general belief is if you're not hurting anybody, it should be legal. I don't think the government has the right to tell us who to marry or what drugs we can take. Those are two things the government likes to be involved in. I don't think that's their business. If I'm not hurting anybody, why does it matter if I'm smoking cannabis or drinking alcohol or sucking on a nicotine lozenge or taking LSD? I don't think that's the government's business if I'm not hurting anybody. Similarly, a very simple line with food. If our ancestors didn't eat it, I don't think it's a good idea for me to eat it because my body's not used to it. That's the really simple line. And then I gave you some of the specifics with the gluten. And then high carbs. High carbs are really bad. High carbs are associated with weight gain. Let me say that again. High carbs, not high fat, is associated with weight gain. High carbs plus high fat, really bad idea. Don't do that. This is your donut, right? Your donut is filled with fat and sugar. You don't want to combine fat and sugar. That's a recipe for obesity. High carbs is also a recipe for obesity. High fat on its own is not. Avocado oil is best. Avocado oil is great. So that's why bread alternatives. Look up Stephen Gundry's recommendations. He's got some options. Look for a gluten-free bread at the very minimum. Sprouted bread is better, but I'd still recommend not doing wheat. Wheat is just bad news. So those are bread alternatives. My breakfast is really simple. I try not to eat breakfast. I like to intermittent fast. I like to fast from 8 p.m. until about noon or 2 p.m. the next day. I like to have coffee or matcha with. I'm going to go low mode here. We might need to end this soon. I'm sorry. We're running. Who is Stephen Gundry? Dr. Stephen Gundry is a best-selling author. He's a medical doctor. He wrote the book, The Plant Paradox. Great. And so breakfast, I like to do coffee mixed with MCT oil or coconut oil or both. I like MCT oil with a little bit of stevia. Sometimes I'll add some collagen if I'm not fasting, and that's my breakfast, and I'll take some supplements with that. My next meal, if you want to know, is my smoothie. My smoothie, I'll show you what's in that. I got it right here. Before I eat my smoothie, I will have this. Probiotics. Organic probiotics. Always organic. I love you too. Always organic cabbage. Conventional raised cabbage can have thallium in it. Cabbage will suck up thallium from the earth, from the soil. It's used in fertilizers. You don't want that. Thallium is added to gasoline. Dave Asprey writes about this in one of his books. Please avoid it. You're welcome for the advice. So I eat a forkful of this before my smoothie. I want to make sure I'm getting fiber and that I'm getting probiotics in my stomach first thing before I eat. So I'll have this, and then I'll have my smoothie. My smoothie has organic broccoli, about a half cup of that, up to a cup. And then I just got these wild blueberries. You can also get organic blueberries. These are great. I'm going to put these in the freezer. These are melting on me. And then I will add a little bit of fat, some organic extra virgin olive oil. I'll be right back. Okay, and then in my smoothie, I will also add some organic carrots. If you get produce, please get organic. That means it's not been sprayed with pesticides or herbicides. At least that's what they claim it is. I highly recommend that. So that's breakfast. So we dealt with breakfast and bread alternatives. And there was a third one. I don't remember what the third one was. What was the third one we were going to talk about? I think we already did it. We talked about dairy. So dairy, about half of Americans are lactose intolerant. We don't know exactly what the exact numbers are. Let's say about half. Those people should not be eating dairy. And dairy also, so those people, just take those people out. So about half of us do not do well with dairy. And about 70% worldwide is the numbers I read. I don't know the exact numbers. Let's say a lot of us don't do well with dairy. Second of all, We did not evolve eating dairy. Dairy is new. Dairy is new with agriculture. Dairy is from 10,000 years ago. This is from a PhD evolutionary dietitian. He's got a better name than that. It's an evolutionary anthropological diet person. Even worse name. He's from Colorado State. He shared that we have not been eating dairy until 10,000 years ago. That's new. That's very, very new. Human beings have existed for 2 million years as Homo erectus. We didn't eat dairy until 10,000 years ago. That means that I don't think my body's used to that. We're the only species that drinks the milk of another species. Granted, we're one of the few, but other species hunt, right? And other species will eat other species, but they don't drink the milk of other species. It's breast milk is great, by the way. It's the perfect food for babies. By the way, breast milk is super high in saturated fat. Dr. David Perlmutter makes this joke. According to the American Heart Association, breast milk should be banned. That's amazing. And so they'd substitute breast milk for some high carb, low fat something or other. Breast milk is high in fat and saturated fat. There's no evidence to suggest that high fat and high saturated fat on its own is bad for you. In fact, it's really good for you. It's what helps grow humans. The baby's brain actually has the most synapses and connections when it's first born, and then it prunes them down as it learns and so forth. But the brain's growing in size. How do you grow that brain? With fat, with breast milk, with a lot of saturated fat. Healthy fat is necessary to grow a brain. One of the theories is that we grew a bigger brain as we ate more meat, more omega-3s. More omega-3s means more fat to make the brain. So dairy. So if you really like dairy and it works well with you, great. I used to drink a lot of dairy as a kid, and then White Russians. Who watches The Big Lebowski, or who watched The Big Lebowski with the dude making White Russians? Show me my bowling fans. Show me my Big Lebowski fans. So The Big Lebowski, me. There we go. Me. Yes. Donnie, you're out of your element. Best movie ever. Totally. I watched that movie once or twice a year. I learned so much from that movie every single time. Yeah, dude. The dude abides. So I would drink, when I was in high school, I'd go out to parties. Kids would be drinking beer, Natty Light or some garbage beer like that. I would bring bottle of vodka, bottle of Kahlua. I worked at a Radio Shack, and I had my older team members buy me booze. So that was kind of nice. And then I'd bring milk or sometimes cream, and I'd sit there and drink my White Russians. It was great. I noticed when I drank heavy cream with my White Russians, I felt sick. It was just so heavy, and that's when I started to pay attention to what I would eat and drink and how it would affect how I felt. And it was delicious. Kahlua with heavy cream and vodka, amazing. And it's expensive. It's expensive, meaning it costs me life. I don't feel good for the next hour, and then I might not feel good for the next day. That's not worth it to me. Like, that's really expensive. What's a day of your life worth? Is it worth that drink? Is it worth that piece of cake? Is it worth that donut? For me, it's not. And one of my guilty pleasures I had tonight, I don't know if you saw the picture of my sister and I with barbecue. I love barbecue. Barbecue is great. And so I used to live in Texas. I'm back here now. I'm visiting my sister. I'm seeing some friends, meeting with some old professors. Old professors as in some of my former professors. They're not necessarily old. I love barbecue. And so I will have barbecue and I'll cheat a little bit on the sauces. There's some sugar in the sauces. I would like there not to be, and I'm still going to have it. All right. So that's my flexibility. I won't have gluten though. Gluten can stay in the body for 30 days. And it's really not good. Think of it like cannabis. So if you smoke cannabis, that shows up in your body for 30 days. If you get pee tested, Dr. Huberman says 90 days. By the way, if you're interested in learning about cannabis, marijuana, the effects on the brain, check out the Huberman Lab podcast. He did a great podcast. I'm about halfway through it on cannabis and marijuana. It's really in depth. Check that out. Dr. Andrew Huberman, neuroscientist from Stanford. Love his work. Let me know if you like Andrew Huberman. Who likes Andrew Huberman? I want to know if I'm speaking to some other fans of his work. He's just great. So that's about that. What are some other questions? Love Andrew Huberman. Yes. Apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar is great. Love him. Yes. Almond milk. Almond milk is good. Coconut milk is good. Those are two of the best. Almond and coconut are my favorites. Artificial sweeteners. Avoid aspartame. Avoid Equal. Equal is like a nuclear bomb in your gut for your gut bacteria. I've read, I think it was Dr. Stephen Gundry, 1 packet of Equal kills half of your gut bacteria. That's a problem. So I would avoid that. The healthy sweeteners are this: allulose, stevia, monk fruit sugar, erythritol, and to some extent xylitol. These don't spike your blood sugar. and they don't cause insulin resistance, and they taste sweet. I like to mix stevia and monk fruit together. So I'll do 10 drops monk fruit, 5 drops stevia. That's really good. Agave is interesting. So I've read that agave is like high fructose corn syrup, and I've read that it's better than high fructose corn syrup. It's not clear to me how bad agave is. I think agave spikes blood sugar really high. Would someone check that out and find out while we're on here? My understanding is that agave does spike the blood sugar pretty hard, and so it's not good. High fructose corn syrup, by the way, is the absolute worst. We are not used to processing high fructose corn syrup, and we don't know what to do with it, and so we immediately store it as fat. It's really bad. It's even worse than cane sugar. It's the absolute worst. So if someone wants to hop on their computer and find out what agave does to the blood sugar, my understanding is it spikes it really high. Let me know if someone can look at it. Coconut sugar is better than regular sugar. Regular sugar in the United States is generally genetically modified beet sugar. So if you look at it, I don't have anything that has sugar in it in front of me. On most packages, if you look at it, it'll say sugar. If it says sugar, that means genetically modified beet sugar. If it's cane sugar, it'll say cane sugar. And that's what we used to have. Cane sugar is actually not that bad. If you eat sugar cane, which is actually high in fiber, if you were to eat a sugar cane plant, it's actually not bad for you. It's a lot of fiber, it's very sweet, and it's got magnesium in it. Sugarcane has magnesium in it. Sugar is refined sugarcane that does not have as much magnesium. In fact, did I read that they bleached it out? There's this recommendation. I wish I could find this book. This girl let me this book about the history of sugar, and it talked about how it was recommended. Oh, this is interesting. In England, I think it was in England, people would drink a lot of beer. And they were told, there was a beer company that's adding sugar to the beer. And there was an uproar. And the people said, listen, you can't put sugar in the beer. Pregnant women are drinking this beer, and that sugar is going to be bad for them. Let me say that again. There's a beer company in England, let's say this is 200 years ago. They were adding sugar to their beer. And there's a public outrage saying, you can't do this. Pregnant women are drinking the beer, and this sugar is going to be bad for them. Amazing. I can't find this book anymore. I wish I could find it. I don't want to say I can't. I've not been able to find this book again. This book also talked about how some of the damaging effects of sugar could be fixed if they would simply add nutrients to the sugar. Let me say that again. The damaging effects of sugar, some of those nutrient deficiencies it causes, could be helped if they added nutrients to the sugar. So I believe sugar actually removes nutrients, I think magnesium, from the body and some other things. So imagine that. You eat sugar, and then it removes minerals from your body. This is a problem. This could be fixed if you added magnesium to sugar. I tried to make a healthy sugar. I took allulose, I added some monk fruit sugar and stevia to it to make it taste sweeter, and then I tried to add magnesium powder to it so it would have magnesium. So I tried to have a mineral sugar. It didn't taste great, and I wasn't able to make it profitably, but I made some for home. It was pretty good. And so the sugar companies could very easily make this a better planet for us if they would simply add minerals to the sugar. That would do wonderful things for the world, especially in the United States. It's poor people and people of color. People of color are really discriminated against. They live in places where we allow pollution, and we give them very little access to food, and we don't give them good education about food. We put unhealthy food in front of them. They eat a high sugar, high fat, high bad fat diet. It's really unfortunate. This is hurting their brain, hurting their children. And so bad food policy is specifically discriminatory against people of color in the United States. And it's very, very sad. And there's very little being done about it. Same thing with bad drug policy. Bad drug policy, meaning arresting people for possession of anything, possession of any drug. If you arrest that person, that is very discriminatory against people of color in the United States. That's who's likely to go to jail for drug possession. It's not fair. It's breaking up that community. It's really sad. It's really unfortunate. And so that's why it's important for us to share this information with as many people as possible, because we want to change these things. We want to have we want the world to be fair and a good place to live for everybody, including those who are disadvantaged, who are poor, and that's primarily people of color. It's really sad. Okay, look on his page. He has some answers to a lot of you guys. Thank you. Okay, so did anyone find what happens with agave? Does agave spike your sugar or what? Anyone find out what happens with agave and insulin and blood glucose? Brown rice, ghee is great. Brown rice is better than white rice. And rice in general, I think, is not good because it's a grain. and we did not evolve eating it. The one exception, okay, what do we get? No, it does not. So agave does not spike blood sugar. Is that true? Agave has a lower glycemic index. What did someone say? Agave has a lower glycemic index than table sugar. Great. Do you know what it is? So table sugar has a glycemic index of 100. Is that right? What's the glycemic index of agave? Is it like lower like 95 or is it lower like 20? It's still highly processed. Okay, I'm going to do some, people keep asking me about this. I'm going to do some more research on this. I'll get back to you tomorrow. So brown rice, better than white rice. The challenge with brown rice is it's still a carb and there are some lectins in it. Even better is black rice. Who's heard of black rice? Forbidden rice. Blow up the chat if you know about black rice. Forbidden rice. It's the best rice. It's absolutely the best rice. Who's heard of black rice? So black rice, yes, me. Yuck. No, you haven't had black rice. You'll know what you're talking about. Me, yes, the best, totally the best. So here's what the deal is with black rice. It's called forbidden rice because it's so nutritious that only the noble class in China could have it. Here's the theory, and then this is why it's thought to be forbidden rice. And give me some factual leeway. I don't know if this is exactly how it happened, but this is kind of what I've been able to piece together from the history. So in China, a large majority of the wealth was owned by a very small percentage of the population. Most of the population were poor farmers, and some of those people were actually pulled out of their homes to serve in the army or serve on the Great Wall of China. And imagine this. Imagine you're a humble farmer and you're the father of a family. You get taken away, and so your family loses the father figure, and you go sit on the Great Wall for the rest of your life, guarding it against the enemies of China. That happened to a lot of people. And so a lot of the lower classes, let's say the poorer classes, the farming class in China, a lot of them probably weren't happy that they worked really hard and didn't have much money. And then they look at the nobles, they have a ton of money and they don't seem to be working very hard. So how do you maintain this kind of uneven economic system? Well, if people are sick and not healthy, then it's more difficult for them to rebel. If the peasants rebelled against the noble class, they would outnumber them. I'm guessing about 1,000 to 1, if not 1,000,000 to 1. Maybe 1,000,000 to 1's a bit much. 1,000 to 1, farmers to nobles. I think that's pretty realistic for ancient China. So you got 1,000 to 1. How do you keep this discrepancy? Well, you keep them sick. How do you keep them sick? You deny them healthy food. What's the healthy food you deny them? Forbidden rice. Forbidden rice is that healthy. That's why it's called forbidden rice. Only the noble classes could eat it. If you're a poor farmer, you're growing it, you're eating it, and you're feeding your family this healthy food, you get in trouble. So forbidden rice is rich in polyphenols. What are polyphenols? These are the rich colors in plants that are really healthy for us. They're healthy for our gut bacteria and healthy for our brain. This is coffee. These are teas. This is matcha. These are spices, cinnamon, high in polyphenols. These are the bright colors in fruits and vegetables, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, strawberries. These are the bright colors that our gut bacteria love and are great for our brain. Polyphenols, they're terrific. The number one source of polyphenols, who knows what it is? It's coffee. Number one source of polyphenols in the world. Why? Because we drink so much coffee. By the way, I learned this from Andrew Huberman. What are the most common drugs in the world? Most common drugs in the world, in order. Who's got it? Want to guess? Red wine. Red wine, it does have polyphenols, absolutely. You got a concussion today. Doctor gave you Tylenol. Okay, let me address this. So if you have a concussion or traumatic brain injury, here are the supplements that are helpful. I'm not giving you medical advice. Here's what I would do if someone I knew had a car accident and concussion, and I've had several friends recently. Number one is oxiracetam, OXIRACETAM. Not giving you medical advice, this is what I would do. Oxiracetam, 1,500 milligrams a day. Number two, alpha GPC, 1,200 milligrams a day. Alpha GPC is a choline precursor, or acetylcholine precursor, helps your brain make acetylcholine, which I call the master molecule of memory. Very important. Oxiracetam, alpha GPC. Next, you're helping regrow and rebuild brain. You need healthy fat. I would eat fish. Sardines. I would eat sardines every day. I would eat sardines, gosh darn, every day, give my brain lots of healthy fats. And I would take fish oil. 1 to 3 teaspoons of good fish oil a day, plus a B complex vitamin. By the way, Dr. David Smith from Oxford found that people who took B vitamins and fish oil reduced the risk of Alzheimer's by 30%. That's a darn big deal. Check out his video on YouTube. It's an hour long on his research. It's great. So let me get this again. User 8223, no, user ZXCV. Write this down. I'm serious about this. I also done some videos on concussion. So oxiracetam, OXIRACETAM, alpha GPC, fish oil, a B complex, and then I would do Ceylon cinnamon, CEYLON. There's research to show that Ceylon cinnamon helps brain recovery after traumatic brain injury. And then I'd add quercetin. Quercetin is shown to be helpful as well. I'd take those six pretty hardcore for the next 3 months at least. See how that helps. I think it's really important. Get lots of sleep. Do walking, but don't necessarily try to exert yourself super hard with exercise. Move your body and do some exercise. Don't be bedridden. I'd also reduce screen time and listen to music rather than watch television. And then if your eyes hurt, put on blue blocker glasses. I've had some friends with concussion that had trouble looking at like screens, like phones or computers. Put on blue blocker glasses. That would be my recommendation for someone I love. Not giving you medical advice, but really try that. Also, lion's mane. Lion's mane increases BDNF, which stands for brain-derived neurotrophic factor, and NGF, nerve growth factor. Those are growth factors for the brain that facilitate the growth of new brain cells and new neural connections. I would take lion's mane supplements. Take that with fat. I think that could be really helpful. I have to go. Person with concussions, please write those down. I'll give it to you one more time. Write these down, everyone. This is what I would do personally for myself and for someone who I love who's had a concussion. Oxiracetam, 1,500 milligrams, OXIRACETAM. Alpha GPC, 1,200 milligrams. A B complex vitamin, fish oil, and quercetin, and Ceylon cinnamon, CEYLON. That is my supplement regimen for myself for recovery from traumatic brain injury, concussion. Please share that with people you love. Okay, that is all I have for you this evening. I love you. God bless you. I will see you tomorrow. And I'm going to hang on here for just a minute or two as my phone still has power, just reading some of your last kind of stuff. Thoughts on tofu. Tofu is made of soy. I wouldn't do soy. We did not evolve eating soy. 49 and 0. What's that about? Thanks for the info. You're welcome. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Thank you again. You're welcome. Honey is better than refined sugar. Honey's probably okay in small amounts. Corn, I wouldn't eat anything with corn. Neuropathy, I would try going low carb, see if that helps. Not giving you medical advice. Hook 'em horns. Hook 'em. I'm in Austin. It's good to be back. Tomatoes have lectins in them. Make sure you peel and seed them or avoid them. Lion's mane is absolutely great. Spirulina is great. Polyphenols, that's what you missed. Thank you, Robert. You're welcome. How do I cure my anxiety? I would exercise, I'd go low carb, see how you feel, get more sleep. For tinnitus, try Hydergine, Hydergine. It was discovered by Albert Hoffman. He also discovered LSD and psilocybin. He's a hero of mine. He's great. Tomatoes are bad. They can be. You want to peel them and seed them for sure. Broccoli sprouts. Broccoli sprouts are absolutely great. I brought sprouting equipment and I left it at my parents' house. How do I thicken hair? Well, clearly I could use that. So I don't have a good answer for you. So those who are putting the same question over and over again, I'm not going to answer you. Quinoa. Quinoa is an ancient grain. Isn't bad. Unfortunately, a lot of quinoa has gluten in it, so I would avoid it. Thank you so much for your opinions. You're welcome. I hope these aren't just opinions. I hope these are facts based in science or data based in science that you can use to live a healthier life. Do I practice yoga? Sometimes. Cacao powder. Cacao powder is great, rich in antioxidants. You want organic, fair trade cacao powder. Chia seeds good. Make sure you soak them. I also like hemp seeds. Hemp seeds are great. Peel and seed tomatoes, yes. Sourdough bread. People keep asking about sourdough bread. Do not eat wheat is my recommendation for myself. Do with it what you like. Wheat is not good for most humans. If you're in Europe, it's a little different. The wheat there is higher quality. In the United States, be very careful of wheat products. Very dangerous. I'm too funny. Why, thank you. Brands I like. Brands of what? Best water to drink. Drink a water that it has the fluoride taken out of it. That's really valuable. I wouldn't eat potatoes. If you're gonna eat potatoes, eat sweet potatoes. They taste better, much healthier for you, more fiber, don't spike your insulin nearly as much. I do eat fruit. The fruit that I eat is mostly blueberries. All right, this is awesome. God bless you. I love you. I will see you tomorrow. And then a couple of free resources for you underneath my link tree. There's a free masterclass. Check that out if you want to be a sponsor of the show. I got a bonus for you. If you want to be a patron to help support the channel and what I'm doing and the information I'm sharing, that would be great. When you become a patron, when you become a monthly patron, you get access to the information of where I buy my aniracetam. I'm not going to share that on this because it'll get sold out and I don't want it to sell out because I want to keep buying it. But I'll share with you where I buy my aniracetam if you become a patron. Also, you can sign up for my huperzine A study. I'm doing a study. I think it's the first study ever done combining huperzine A, alpha GPC, and a B complex vitamin. And if you want to apply for that, please check that out. It costs $500 to participate to help pay for the study supplement. So there's that. And there's my free masterclass. I love you. I love you too, Insta Daddy. So those are the free resources. Masterclass, the Patreon if you want to participate, and there's the huperzine A study. And then if you have long haul virus or you know someone with long haul virus, you can, there's a masterclass for long haul virus with Dr. Linnell King. He's a really handsome, really intelligent doctor from Johns Hopkins. You can watch his masterclass for free. You can watch my masterclass for free. Check out those free resources. And please, when you watch the videos, please comment. I try to read most of those comments. If I see a bunch of questions that are the same, I will try to make more videos that answer them. So thank you for being here. And I want to commend you for spending your evening or morning learning about neuroscience, learning about food, learning about brain health, and learning about the value of the low carb diet, the benefits of healthy fats, all these wonderful things. Please share this information with someone you love. It's so valuable. And then this will be posted on YouTube. I think I'm gonna do it sometime this week. I'm now in Austin, I'm settled. I'm gonna take the lives, I'm gonna download them and put them on YouTube so you can watch them. I hope that's helpful to you. You're awesome. I love you so much. I'll talk to you soon.